Good morning. It is Kristi here. It is Monday, November 30th, and I thought it was a good time to start coming on weekly again. I'm looking at Monday mornings around 10:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, and showing up for you. I may change it up weekly what I'm doing, but today we're going to start off with a um, energy healing session, and I will tune into the energy and what needs to happen or what needs to be worked on each week. So it may have different topics and different themes. So I thought we'd go ahead and get started, and then let me know what you think, how it goes. Share it with a friend if it feels good for you and you think that they can receive something from this. I would love for you to do that. And I'm going to try to make this approximately 20 minutes. I don't want it to be too long. I want it to be pretty digestible for you and for you to receive some benefit from it without it taking up a ton of time. So first thing that I do is I need to tune in to the energy. I like to close my eyes and see what comes through. So there are moments of silence that happens, but that's okay. I'm just picking up some information and we're moving on from there. Okay. And as I'm tuning in more, I'll be able to get more information for who this is for and what it's regarding. So all right, let's call in our angels, our guides, our good, true, beautiful ancestors, the highest levels of love and light. Let's call on our higher self, our higher power, our innate inner wisdom, and any angelic and galactic light forces, the highest truth and compassion for your highest and greatest good. And we're looking at priority for healing. This really feels like it has to do with like the holiday season. We've just moved through Thanksgiving here in the States, and we're moving into the winter solstice and Christmas and different seasonal holidays for different cultures and religions. So with that comes a lot of like kind of crazy stress, right? Especially in a year like 2020. And it may bring on some anxiety and different, panic and fear. So I thought this could be a good one to connect with right now during this time. Okay. So the first thing I do is whoever needs to receive this, whether it's today, November 30th, or November 30th of 2021, next year, or whenever it is that you're finding this is meant for you at this time. So go ahead and tune in and receive. And okay, so let's see. Let's bring in whoever can really benefit from this. And I like to call you into what I call my like workshop. And so I'm going to bring you in, and it feels like the feeling is like a heavy heart or a heavy chest or heart center space. And and it almost feels very much like stuck heavy energy, where it's almost like I don't know how to move forward in anything. And it feels very much just like I'm sitting here in stillness, but it's not like spiritual stillness. It just feels like stuckness. Okay. And again, it feels like it's centered like right here at the heart center, chest area. So let's see. Okay. Further on this. And I feel like it's like the finishing of a year. We're in the last month of the year, almost the last month. And there's just like I'm starting to get emotional. Like it feels like there's just tears and angst and just emotions that need to be released. Like it's been so much and it's been so heavy and intense for so many people for a pretty long time. And it just feels like there's a feeling of like emotional release needs to happen. And so we're looking at a release of like sadness, and sadness often goes with joy, sadness. Like if you're overjoyed, it can kind of almost move into like tears, and then it can keep going into sadness. And so it looks like we're doing an emotional release of sadness within the whole chest area, heart space, chest center. Okay, further details on this. And it feels like a heavy burden, like a heavy pack, a heavy like luggage that you've been carrying around with you for so long. And it feels like it doesn't even just feel like it's right here. It feels like it's front center, back center, like it's been put on, and it's time to take this heavy sadness off. It's ready to be lifted off. Okay, more details on that. Okay, so you may close your eyes. You may just tune in to what this feels like for you to release the sadness. I will give you the visuals that I see, and you can run with that. Like pick up on what I'm putting out there. Or yours may be a little bit different. You may feel tingling. You may feel, just kind of a shifting in energy and breath. You may not feel anything, and that's okay. This is still getting done. So let's see how this is. And I feel like it wants to come off in so many different ways. Like it does want to come off over the head, the chest. It wants to like come out of the heart streaming. It also wants to come out the backside, like pulling out all the gunk. It also wants to just come out like psh, like the bricks are giving way, or like the structure is giving way. So it's doing all these different things. I'm going to tap on the head to say, hey, I tap on the right and left hemispheres of the brain. Hey, we're going to make some changes, right? We're going to release the sadness that we've been carrying around for so long. It's time to let it go. And then I'm going to tap on the heart. So I remember it. I remember these changes by heart. And then I'm going to tap on my gut, because I'm going to embody these changes of release of this intense sadness that's kind of been under the surface for a long time. So just take a couple deep breaths into that. And if you want to tap, you may, or I'm tapping for all of us, so you don't have to. And let go of any more sadness that needs to come out wherever it needs to come out. You can visualize it. You can, like I see somebody here and I'm just pulling out the sadness on their backside. Okay, and dropping it into the diaphragm so the diaphragm can process it and let it go so it's not stuck in our system somewhere else. And we let it go. All right, good. All right, anything else here? No, it feels like a settling or a calmness that kind of comes over, and it just moves us down and kind of like a more present state. Okay. Where are we going next? All right. So it feels like we're in more of a present state, not necessarily feeling into like that heavy sadness that's there, but it also has a lack of like energy or motivation or, that creativity behind it. So that kind of feels like that vitality isn't there. And so we're going to go to the lungs. So we're staying in this chest space area, and we're going to lungs, and lungs are all about metal. We've had a lot of lung issues this whole year, breathing issues. So the lungs are very metal energy, which is the fall, which is where we are right now. And it also, the lungs carry grief, but they also are all about our vitality and our energy, right? If you're having a hard time breathing and it's heavy and you're going to lack that energy to like get out and move and be excited. So we're looking at the lungs. Are we looking specifically at one element? Is it all the things? So it's all the things that I just mentioned regarding lungs. And where are we taking this, or what are we doing with it is my question. It's almost witnessing the lungs, like, hey, lungs, I see you. You're doing good work. Like, right? And just breathing into them and recognizing that they're there and a part of you, right? It's an organ within you. And so it feels like they almost want their recognition. Like, you don't have me, what do you have? And I feel there's like, I'm about to start crying. So I feel there's the underlying emotion of grief here as well, whether it's our own grief, whether it's grief for others or the loss of another, or what's happening in our country, or the divide that's kind of taking place right now. And then different events that have happened throughout the year. There's that feeling of not being all equal. So there's a lot here underneath that heart space sadness. Then we go to the lungs and the grief and feng shui is coming in. So there is something in feng shui. It's the number 6 or 6 and 7, and it's two metal elements. And what happens when you bring two metal elements is like the dueling sign, like they're fighting, right? This double metal, and it kind of has that energy of that double metal in feng shui. Maybe a few of you will get where I'm going with that, but it's and so it feels like these two elements are, one single element is having a battle within us. Okay, so it feels like there's also that. And so we're just gonna, if you have a chance, close your eyes for a moment and just breathe into your chest center, into your lungs. Send them your love. Send them your gratitude. Let them know that you're ready to release any grief, any pain, any burdens you've been carrying around that's just too much for you to carry around anymore. And it's okay to let them go. You're allowed to let grief go. You don't have to hold on to it and internalize it, right? And maybe you need to go cry and let it go. What happens if we don't let it go externally? It can reverse and go internally. So we can have internal tears and internal water, which would play out as pneumonia, right? In the lungs. So we want to make sure that we're able to release our grief however we need to release it. And oftentimes that is through crying. And release, external release in that way. Okay, so anything else here? Okay, so the other thing that we're going to connect this to is what we call Wei Qi, and that's an energy protection. There's different forms of Wei Qi, but in this particular one, it's kind of like a layer of energy that's around our body, and we want to expand that and give us space. What it does, it helps protect us from electromagnetic frequencies, so cell phones, computers, microwaves, that kind of thing. Seasonal and climactic changes can affect our system. Also, other people's emotions. So somebody comes at you and they're all sad and, oh my gosh, yes, and you start taking on their sadness. Well, it's not your sadness to take on. You can sympathize, but it's kind of like, I see you, but it's not my emotion, whether it's sadness or anger or whatever it is. And the fourth thing is physical. It offers you physical protection. So I would say, let's say a kid on the soccer field gets hit, right? And they get that concussion. And oftentimes you may notice that they keep getting concussions frequently. Well, their Wei Qi has been damaged. And so that keeps repeating. So we want to make sure it's nice and a strong Wei Qi so that nothing kind of gets through. So somebody else may get hit, no big deal. Somebody else gets hit and they have a huge bruise, right? That's a weaker Wei Qi. Their energy isn't protecting them as well. So we're going to help expand the Wei Qi so it's nice and strong. And anything else here? No. Okay, so I'm just seeing the collective's energy like a holographic, like Star Trek, they used to beam somebody in, kind of like that. So I'm just expanding the Wei Qi around all those who are watching, receiving. And what it feels like is that we've sucked it in so tightly for protection, like pulling the blanket over, like I'm just protecting myself, I'm keeping myself safe, but at the same time, it hasn't really helped. It's doing the opposite. It's not really protecting us. It's almost making it weaker. So we want to make sure that we let go and let our energy, let the Wei Qi expand so we are protected. So something comes in and it stops here as opposed to coming in and we take it in. And it gives us space to breathe and to think and to be a part of, but not in it, right? When we're right in the middle of something, it's really hard to find our own truth because we're so in it. We can't see, we have no perspective, versus taking a step back and going, oh, I see what's going on, right? Like you're not right in the middle of the action. And so it gives you space to breathe, heal, relax. Okay. And then we're going to tap it in again, the head and the heart and the gut. And what happens here in these sessions is we start to release the stress and the anxiety that's happening in our body. And when that happens, we're able to heal from the inside. Okay. And another thing I want to mention is oftentimes, even with these healing sessions, they can be very subtle, the results. But one of the things that I do notice is the synchronicities. All of a sudden people start getting in sessions and like that thing just happens and it's super easy, and that thing, like we've no longer in a blocked mode, we're in an open mode. So things can kind of move through our life and bring in what we desire just that much more simply, because we're no longer in like a contracted state, we're open. And so it's just like, I've been wanting this thing for so long, and all of a sudden it's just like here. And then the next synchronicity happens and the next one, it's just like the doors just keep opening. So it's really important to kind of notice the synchronicities that may show up after these sessions, and not just for the day, but for days and weeks and even months. Okay. All right. So are we going anywhere else? Okay. So that's it. We're just doing quick, simple, sweet, few adjustments that may help you. Let me see if there's any other information that wants to come through. It's taking the moment to just stop and breathe into our chest, breathe into our lungs. There's other areas that are great to breathe into, but right now that was the focus, this lung area. And just really like open up to your vitality, open up to your energy, open up to expansion and more of a flow versus that contracted, stuck, blocked, heavy state. We're opening up. Okay. All right. Anything else? Okay. So everybody's leaving my workshop. So let me know if that resonated with you, if that made sense to you at all. If you have any questions, I would love to hear your questions and see if I can answer those as best I can for you. please share this with a friend if you know of somebody that can use this, right? 20 minutes, super simple, super easy. And just be in the presence. Notice what you notice in your body. Don't judge it. Just feel and notice. Tap along if that feels good to you, and then pay attention to the subtle shifts that may happen in your life and any synchronicities that may come up. It's all related. Okay, so this is Kristi Lee Serafin. This is Monday, and I hope that I will be back to see you next Monday for another session check-in. We'll see. We'll see. It'll be a surprise for all of us. And I will talk to you soon. All right. Bye-bye.